Hello, friend. Thank you for coming back to part 2 of this series. I left off where I basically talked about where my weight issues came in, my body image issues started, the weight issues began. Did I just say that? I'm blaming perimenopause. If you're watching me, you can relate because you're either in perimenopause, thinking you're in perimenopause, or menopause. So today I want to talk about another chapter that I went through that really was very trying for me. I had gotten to the point where I was in a great place physically. I felt good about my body. I was working out. I was eating. I thought what was plenty at the time. And I had just gotten done with a workout. I think it was P90X I was doing back then. Well, I went upstairs and I went to do something and I turned my head and I had excruciating pain shoot down my spinal cord and I could not move. I was terrified. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't get away from the pain. I was freaking out a bit. I don't think anybody was home at the time. So I just went and I tried to lay down. And I tell you what, I had my first migraine headache. I couldn't even move my eyeballs without it hurting so badly. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't stand the dark. My head was I was just in so much pain. I didn't know what was going on. And long story short, on that part, I went to the doctor. I had to get an MRI. I found out that I had a bulging disc in my neck, and I had spinal stenosis, which is narrowing of the spine, and I had disc degeneration. I was told I had the neck of an 80-year-old when I went in. That will stick with me forever. So this pain is what was causing. That's what was causing all this pain, is that bulging disc. And it was a small one. It was not big enough to do surgery because I went to the surgeon. I didn't have any nerve pain. My hands and my feet started tingling. My face was numb. I did all the nerve tests. Everything was fine. Everything came back normal. Imagine that. Everything came back normal. Figured out about the bulging disc. Had to go get spinal injections for the pain. It was so bad. I couldn't drive. I was in a car trying to hold myself up and brace myself because going over any tiny bump was send a shot down my spine. It was the worst thing I've ever been through. That was 2009, January, February of 2009. I went on that triggered a bunch of things for me. That triggered what they told me was fibromyalgia. That triggered hypothyroidism. That triggered chronic fatigue. To this day, my hands and feet still tingle a little bit, but not as much as back then. My face is not. So, I don't even know. There's so much. I went to so many doctors, so many specialists, so many tests, so many medications. This went on for 8+ years. 8+ years, chronic pain. I had migraines. I didn't even know they were migraines until later on. We finally figured it out that they were mild migraines that were happening every day, all day long, varying degrees of pain, but it was all day long. I could not get away from it. So I was trying all of the medications. I was trying craniosacral work. I was trying acupuncture. I was trying chiropractic work. I was trying holistic, homeopathic, like all the things that I could do to try and help myself. I tried it. Nothing was working. I was in chronic pain for 8+ years. I can't remember what year it started, but I started turning to food. Food became my drug. Drugs were not my drugs because those pain drugs were not doing, they were like me eating candy. It was not doing anything to mask my pain. So I turned to food because in the moment, and if this has ever been a thing for you, you understand. If not, you're not going to understand unless you've been addicted to something. I feel like that's probably the same thing. I would have whatever the food was, and it would give me just a slight seconds of what I thought was relief, right? But it didn't make anything better. It made me gain more weight. It made me feel worse physically. The mental load was so heavy. I continued because I couldn't move. I couldn't even walk to the mailbox without being in pain. I couldn't work at work with the lights on. I had to have a lamp because they would cause worse migraines. I had to wear sunglasses in my house with the shades pulled. Just thinking about it just makes me want to tear up a bit, because that was a time when my kids were kind of little and I wasn't much of a mom at the time. I was pretty much a shell of a woman. I should know better. I should know that this part of my story is going to get me every time. Excuse me, I should have brought a tissue. Oh, do I have one in my butt? Nope. Anyway, I can't dwell on that because I can't do anything about it at this point, right? It was just probably the lowest, one of the two lowest points in my life, and turning to food and not moving and not doing any of the health things because I just felt so horrible. I was so badly fatigued, not moving my body, not drinking enough water, not eating properly, binge eating, emotional eating, gained so much weight. I was 100 pounds heavier than I am right now. Yes. 100 pounds heavier than I am right now. I got up to that point, and I remember vividly work wanted to take pictures. They wanted to take pictures of us with our departments. And I remember seeing the picture, and I immediately went out to my pickup truck and I bawled like a baby. I can feel that right now. It was one of the worst feelings ever. Like, I looked at that picture and I just could not believe it. I did not recognize who this person was. I didn't realize what had happened to me, what I had done to myself, all because of chronic pain. And I was so tired. I was so tired of nobody being able to help me. Doctors not having any answers, medications not working, feeling like a guinea pig, a hamster on a hamster wheel, whatever. Just going through the motions and trying medication after medication after medication. And I just was tired. I went to a holistic doctor. She had me just start whatever she wanted. And I started taking that thyroid medication, even though it was a natural one. It started giving me hand and head tremors. And I was like, I'm done with this. Then I went homeopathic, and I was spending so much money a month on that. I could not do it. It cost an arm and a leg. And then something that I'll talk about in the next video is I discovered gut health. Of all the things, I discovered gut health. And it is crazy that is one of the biggest turning points that I've ever had in my entire life. It was that big of a deal. So if you want to hear more about that, just give me a follow and check out next week, part 3, where I'm going to talk about how gut health completely changed my life. But I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your comments to see if you've had anything like this happen in your life, anything remotely the same, where you feel like you had absolute no hope, no help, and you just didn't know which direction to go in, and you found yourself in a place where you never thought you'd find yourself. I would love to hear from you. So anyway, thank you for hanging in there with me on this, on my journey, my story, and I hope nothing resonates with you in this one, because this was a tough one, apparently. But if so, I would love to hear from you. And until next time, remember, something is better than nothing. Chat soon.